Okay, for this one we're only going to find the asymptotes. So we're going to find the vertical and the horizontal asymptote. For the vertical asymptote, you're always going to do the same thing. You're always going to take the bottom one and set the bottom one equal to 0. So I have x plus 2 equals 0. If I solve for that, I get x is equal to negative 2. That's going to go in right here. Next, I want to find the horizontal asymptote. The horizontal asymptote is the one that involves those rules. That's the one that involves looking at the highest power on top and the highest power on the bottom. The highest power on top is 2. Highest power on the bottom is 1. So in this case, what I have is my n is the highest power on top. That's going to be larger than the m, which is the highest power on the bottom. So if you have this is actually going to be Rule 3 of the rules that I have in my notes. Rule 3 says that if you have this situation happening, then there is no horizontal asymptote. Okay, so that means that I'm just going to put none here on this blank. Is that the end of the video? No, because if you look at it, there's still more time in this video. That means there's more that you have to do here. If you don't have a horizontal, then you don't get off scot-free. You have to actually still find the slant, or it's also called an oblique asymptote. Okay, so how do we find that? Okay, when you have this situation happening, highest power on top is more than the highest power on the bottom, you need to do one of two things. You can either use long division or you can use synthetic. Now synthetic you're allowed to use if there's a 1 in front of the x and there's also a 1 on the power like there is here, you're allowed to use synthetic. In the notes, I did this problem by using long division, so I'm going to show you another alternative which is going to be easier, and that's going to be using the synthetic division. So let me show you how to do synthetic. You should always have this written down already. If not, you can just rewind the video. I'll go ahead and erase this so we have room to do the slant. So when you do that, you want to put the opposite sign. This here is positive 2. You're going to use negative 2. You're going to put inside the box. And then you're putting your coefficients in here. It's already written descending power, highest to lowest power. So there's no place keepers we need to put in there. So this is correct setup for synthetic. Drop the 3 down. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Goes underneath the next column. You add that. It's going to be 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Add that together, we get negative 2. This is going to be your remainder. Your quotient is the one that you're going to put down for the slant or the oblique asymptote. That is written this way. 3, there's an x there, and then you have plus 4. It was a square. We did synthetic once, brought it down to a power of 1, so you have 3x plus 4. So the question you might be asking is, well, wouldn't the whole thing be written like this? Yes, that would be the way the whole thing is broken down. If we take this and divide it, you will get this as a result. However, when you write your answer for the slant or oblique, you're only going to use the quotient part only. The reason why is because as x gets very, very big, this whole fraction is going to get smaller and smaller. If you think about, if I take 1 divided by 10, 1 divided by 100, 1 divided by 1,000, all the way up to 1 with a bunch of zeros in the bottom like that, this is getting progressively smaller every single time. This is 0.1, 0.01, 0.001. So the whole result is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So therefore, that's what's going to happen to this. As the bottom gets bigger, the whole result's going to end up going down to 0. So because of that, we're going to ignore the remainder part on it. And this first part is going to be the only part you want to write for the oblique. You want to make sure you put the y equals in there, because again, if you just have 3x plus 4, that's not an equation. You need to make it an equation by having the equal sign there. So y equals 3x plus 4. That will be the equation for your slant, or it's also referred to as the oblique asymptote, but there wouldn't be a horizontal. The slant ones, basically what it looks like is you have a slant, a line going something like this, and so instead of having it be horizontally, you would have something where the graph maybe looks something like that, where it's going to be following a slant all the way out here, and it'll follow the slant going down that particular direction. So in general, that's what a slant asymptote actually does. And the actual equation, this dotted line, would actually have the equation of 3x plus 4 if we're really going to do the specific graph, but this is a general idea of what a slant asymptote is.